Hi everyone, welcome to another video. So normally I would kind of do a monthly wrap up as its own individual video, but during February I didn't read that much, to be perfectly honest. I had a kind of, not a rubbish reading month, like I read some good books, but I just wasn't, I was kind of in a bit of a slump. So I thought I'd combine this video with kind of updating my reading journal as well. So I'm just going to go through all the books that I read in February first, and then I will get into updating my journal as well, because I've got quite a bit that I need to do in there and update. So I read 4 novellas, 2 books and 2 audiobooks. So it just didn't feel like I read very much because I only read like 2 physical books. It just didn't feel like I read that much. I will start with the 4 novellas, and they are part of the Improbable Meet Cute collection, which are basically a collection of 6 little novellas which are all set on Valentine's Day, and it's just different scenarios where couples meet on Valentine's Day, and each book in the collection is written by different authors. I read 4 of those in February. One of the ones that I read was The Worst Wingman Ever by Abby Jimenez, and she's one of my new favourite authors. I absolutely love her. And this one, I can't really remember too much about it, but I think it was basically where there's 2 brothers or friends, I can't remember, I think they were friends, and one of them was meant to leave a note on the other one's girlfriend's car on Valentine's Day, and he actually left it on the wrong car, and the car belonged to this other girl, and then they end up leaving each other notes on her car, and that's basically how they end up meeting. So this one was really cute. I gave it 3.25 stars. And then the next one was Rosie and the Dreamboat by Sally Thorne, and this one I really enjoyed. I mean, I've not heard many people say they enjoyed this one, but I actually found it quite funny. These novellas are all just really short, by the way. They're literally like between 40 and 90 pages, so they're only really short. You can read them just in one sitting really quick, within like an hour kind of thing. And I listened to the audiobook of some of them, and some of them I read on my Kindle. It's about 2 sisters, and they go to this spa on Valentine's Day as like a treat. One of them treats the other sister, and one of the spa treatments is to go in this flotation tank, and they creep me out. Like, I would not want to go in one, especially after reading this, but in general I just wouldn't want to go in one. It's basically this giant like tank thing that you lay in, and it's enclosed at the top. You're completely enclosed, and you're in a bit of water, and it's meant to like calm your brain. It's meant to be just very calming and relaxing experience, and basically this girl gets stuck inside of one. So one of the flotation tanks is actually faulty, and she gets stuck inside of one, and these people have to come rescue her, and one of the people that comes and rescue her, that's, you know, stuff happens there. And I gave this one 4 stars. The next one in this collection was Drop, Cover and Hold On by Jasmine Guillory. I think that's how you pronounce her surname, but yeah, I'd never heard of this author before, and I listened to this one via audio, and I wasn't a huge fan of this. It was okay, it was quite good. I did give it 2.75 stars, so I did enjoy it, but it just wasn't my favourite. I have got a reading vlog actually, which will come out at some point. It will probably come out towards the end of March or start of April, which has kind of got some of these novellas in there as well, but yeah, so if you would like to see my more in-depth thoughts on these novellas, please subscribe to my channel, and so you don't miss that video when it comes out. And then the final one that I read was one that I think I listened to by audio, was With Any Luck by Ashley Poston, and this one I did not like. I don't really know what happened in this. I was kind of just bored. It wasn't really my favourite one at all. I gave this one 2 stars. This was my least favourite one in the collection, I think. And then moving on to the actual books that I read The Inheritance Games, and I thought I would fly through this book, but I was in such a slump that it did take me a little while to get through. I listened to the first half of it via audio while I was reading along with it, because I was in such a slump. I just needed that to help me. But then I actually switched to reading it just physically without the audio for the second half, and I actually enjoyed it without the audio more. I think I didn't really like the audio narrator for this book, but yeah, it was quite slow for me to get into it, but the chapters are so quick, which was great when I was in a reading slump. This is the first book in a trilogy. There's this girl called Avery, and she gets this letter where she for some reason has inherited all this stuff. Like, she's inherited all this massive estate and everything from this guy that she's never heard of before, and she has to go live there for a year before she can, like, to make sure she can actually claim the inheritance. If she doesn't stay there for a year, then all the money and everything goes to charity. So she has to stay there with all these brothers and all their family and stuff, and there's all these riddles trying to figure out why he left her the inheritance and that kind of thing. And I still don't know why, because obviously this is the first book in a trilogy, so I'm assuming everything will just unravel more as the series goes on. But I did really enjoy this in the end. I gave it 4.25 4.5 stars, and I'm definitely going to continue this series soon. They're just really easy to read, and also it's a really floppy book, which I love. I also read the 4th book in the Chestnut Spring series, which is Reckless by Elsie Silver, and I really enjoyed this one as well. I did listen to this a little bit by audiobook in between when I was like doing other things, but I did read most of it physically. And this is the 4th book in the Chestnut Spring series. I don't know if I just said that already, I probably did. And this book is about Winter, who is the sister of Summer from the 1st book, and she's known as being a bit of a bitch. She's a bit grumpy, not the nicest person, but in this book you realise she is, and she's just gone through loads of things when she was younger, and she really regrets how she treated her sister in the past and that kind of thing. And it's also about Theo and their relationship as it grows, and there is a surprise pregnancy trope in this book, which it does say on the back, so that's not a spoiler. That's basically what this book's about. I actually don't mind the surprise pregnancy trope. Like, lots of people don't really like it, but I do like it if it's done well. I just think it's really cute, and seeing a guy like become a dad and everything is just so cute and nice. But yeah, I did really enjoy this one. So I gave this one 4.25 stars. This was I'd say this is probably my second favourite in this series. My first favourite in the series would be Heartless, which is the 2nd book. But this one I almost love just as much. And then I listened to 2 audiobooks in the month of February. One of them was Loveless by Alice Oseman, and this was the final book written by her that I actually needed to get to, and I really enjoyed this actually. This might be actually one of my favourite books by her, apart from the Heartstopper graphic novels. This is probably my favourite one other than that, like one of her actual novels. I'd say this was my favourite. And this is about a girl who goes to university with 2 of her best friends, and she's trying to kind of figure out her sexuality. She realises that she's never actually been attracted to anyone ever, and it's kind of her exploring that, and the book's kind of mostly about friendships as well, and it's just really good. And I think it was very realistic as well, in the sense of like how university life was and how people feel at university and the university experience. I feel like that was very realistic from what I experienced when I went to uni. I did really enjoy this one. I give it 4.25 stars as well, and the audiobook I highly recommend as well. I enjoyed it via audio. And then finally, I listened to Maybe in Another Life by Jenkins Reid via audio, and this one I loved. This was probably my favourite book of the month. I gave it 4.5 stars. I did really enjoy this. I haven't heard many good things about this book, to be honest. I've not heard anyone rave about it before, but I really liked it. It's basically one of those books where there's like 2 different scenarios. This girl moves back to her hometown. I can't remember her name now, but she moves back to her hometown and she comes across this guy, Ethan, who she knew back in the day. She dated back in the day, and for some reason they broke up. There's 2 different scenarios. They're at this party, and one of the scenarios is where she leaves with him after this party and they get together, and there's also another scenario where she doesn't leave with him. She goes back with her sister, or is it her best friend? No, she goes back with her best friend, and she ends up in a car accident. So it goes through back and forth each chapter from each scenario, and I just really enjoyed it. It's just so interesting realising like how one little decision you make, so her leaving that party with him or not leaving that party, her life ended up so different in both scenarios, and it's just so interesting. Like, yeah, one tiny little thing that you do could affect your whole life pretty much, and it's just, yeah, pretty crazy to think about. But I really enjoyed it, and Jenkins Reid, I just love her writing, I love her storytelling, and I just really enjoyed this one. So yeah, highly recommend that one. Right, so my reading journal, I haven't updated this for a little while actually, so I need to go through. So here's my 2024 page. I need to go through my 24 in 2024, cross off what I've crossed off, update my like alphabet challenge. I need to update that as well, and also my book bingo and the series that I'm in the middle of. I need to update all this, and then my favourite books of each month, I need to fill in this, and then I'm also going to create a page for my DNFs of this year, and then I also need to start just doing my pages for January and February basically. So I'm going to go to my desk and get on with this for a little while. Right, so I'm here at my desk. I've just got all my like supplies that I normally use for this kind of thing. So I've got my felt tip pens. I use the Crayola Super Tips. I've got some glue, stickers, and then here I've got some other stickers and my like star rating stickers that I use. And then obviously my reading journal, black pen and a ruler. So first of all, I'm just going to quickly look through my 24 books that I want to read in 2024, and I'm just gonna see what ones of these I've read. I read The Inheritance Game, so I need to cross that one off, and Love and Other Words. I've read that, so I can cross that off. And that's it, but still, I can cross 2 off the list, so that is better than nothing. for my favourite books of the month, I chose Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez from January. That book was just so good. That was, yeah, new favourite author for sure. And then February I chose Maybe Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And then the books that I've DNF'd so far this year is Nowhere to Run by James Oswald, which is one my mum picked up from a post office near us that have like secondhand books for sale and stuff. She picked it up. It's actually the second in a series, but I decided to give it a go anyway, and yeah, was not a fan. I read about 100 pages and I was bored, so I DNF'd that one. And then this month in March, I started listening to the audiobook of One of Us Is Back by Karen M. McManus. I read the first 2 books in the series. This is the last book. But the TV series is so different than the book, and I feel like I remember the TV series more than the book. So when I was listening to the audiobook, I was kind of like, who are these characters? I literally was so confused. So I was like, there's no point me reading this, I can't be bothered. So I gave up with that one. So that's another DNF. And then I'm going to start adding in all the books that I read in January. I'm just going to glue them in like in the order I read them in, add all the details and go from there. So I've just updated everything pretty much. So I updated those pages and the book bingo and my book series, and then the favourite books of each month and my DNF so far of the year. And then my January page is like this, and I just put a little stick here, so I did it a red theme. Kind of getting a little bit bored of this layout now. I feel like I want to come up like with a different way of displaying the books I've read each month, and like, yeah, just a different way of doing it. I think maybe for March I'm going to do something a bit different. And then February I just added some hearts because Valentine's month, and that's it really. And I think I'm going to put like a March TBR here, and then obviously March wrap up and that continuing, but I think I'm going to start doing a different layout. I just thought I'd add that into this video just because this video would have been really short otherwise, just my February wrap up, because I didn't read that much in February. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you aren't already, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. I'd love to see you there. Bye!